I want to start with something a founder said to me a few weeks ago. He had a good business, real revenue, real clients, a team that worked hard. And he looked at me and said, Kumar, I don't understand it. We're doing everything right, so why does it feel like we're invisible? That question stayed with me because I've heard some version of it from almost every founder I have worked with. Different industries, different revenue, different cities, same feeling. And I want to spend the next few minutes explaining why that happens, not with theory, with what I have actually seen sitting across the table from business owners for years. Here's the trap: most businesses are built to sell, not to be remembered, to sell. And in the beginning, that's the right instinct. You need revenue to survive. Nobody builds a brand on day one when there is no money in the account. So founders chase sales, ads, offers, discount referrals, more ads, and it works for a while. Revenue starts coming in. The business feels alive. But here's what nobody tells you at that stage: revenue is temporary. It comes in through effort and it slows down the moment effort slows down. A brand does not work like that. A brand survives generation. It works even in the months you didn't push as hard. It works even when the competitor undercuts your price. It works because people aren't buying your product anymore. They're choosing you. And most businesses never get there, not because it didn't work hard enough, but because nobody ever taught them the difference between selling and being remembered. Let me put it simply: marketing gets you attention, branding decides what people do with that attention. You can spend lakhs every month getting eyeballs on your business. Ads, reels, influencers, SEO, all of it works temporarily. But attention has short memory. The moment you stop paying for it, it disappears. Someone scrolls past your ad, and by tomorrow, they don't even remember your name unless there's an identity behind that attention. And identity is what makes someone stop and think, I've seen this before. I know what this stands for. That's not something an ad creates in 3 seconds. That's something built deliberately over time. Through every touch point, your messaging, your visuals, your tone, the way your team speaks to the client, the experience someone has after they buy. Attention without identity disappears. Identity is what turns a business into something people carry in their memory long after the ad budget runs out. I'll tell you about a business I have worked with. I won't name them out of respect, but the situation will feel familiar to a lot of you. They were spending heavily on ads, good product, decent conversion rate, but every rupee they stopped spending, sales dropped almost immediately. They weren't building a business, they were renting attention. The moment we shifted focus not away from marketing but towards identity, positioning, and a message people could actually remember, something changed. It didn't happen overnight, nothing meaningful does. But slowly, people started coming back without being retargeted. Referrals increased without being asked for. The cost of acquiring a customer started dropping because people were arriving with recognition already, not needing convincing from scratch. That's the difference between a business that markets and a business that means something. There's a second problem I see just as often, and it's a little more personal. A lot of founders build businesses that only work because they are in the room. They approve every decision, they are on every client call. They are the face, the voice, the final word on everything. And they call this dedication. But I'd ask you to look at it differently. A business that only works when you are present isn't a business yet. It's very well paid job for you that you build for yourself. A business that actually scale, that actually becomes brand, they're built by founders who deliberately made them replaceable. Not because they stopped caring, but because they understood that a brand has to be able to exist independent of any one person, including its founder. If your business disappeared for 30 days, would it still be standing when you come back? That question tells you more about your business than your last quarter's revenue report. I want to say something specific to the founders building here in India right now. We are in one of the most competitive markets the world has ever seen. Every industry, more players entering every year, prices going down, attention is getting harder to hold. In a market like this, competing on price is a losing game. Someone will always undercut you, but competing on meaning, on being a business that people actually remember, actually trust, actually choose without comparing 5 options first, that's a game very few businesses are even trying to play. Businesses don't become global by selling more, they become global by meaning more. And I think that's the biggest opportunity sitting in front of Indian entrepreneurs right now. Not more ad spend, not more hustle, a decision, deliberate, early, intentional about what your business actually stands for and building everything else around that. So, if you're watching this and you recognize some of what I have described, doing everything right but still feeling invisible, I'll ask you to sit with one question. Are you building a business people will buy from this year? Or are you building a brand people will remember for years after? Those are two different paths, and most founders never consciously choose, they're just default into the first one because it's faster and it's what everyone else is doing. I'd rather you choose deliberately, even if it takes longer, because the world doesn't reward the best business, it rewards the businesses people remember. And if this made you think differently about your own business, I'd genuinely like to hear about it. Drop a comment and tell me where you see this in your own company. And if you know a founder who needs to hear this, send it to them. I'm Kunwar Ieshdeep Singh, and I'll see you in the next one.